Welcome back to Talk Tuesdays, a series dedicated to empowering youth and families and communities through real conversation that inspire growth and action. This series brought to you by Step Foundation Inc., where advocacy meets education for the betterment of your minds. I'm Eleni Alvarez, your host and peer educator here at Step Foundation. And this October, we're going to be focusing on something that is not always easy to talk about and is absolutely necessary, bully prevention, and its deep connection to mental health. October is a National Bullying Prevention Month, and over the next few weeks, we're going to be creating a space where the truth is told, voices are heard, and healing begins. Whether it's bullying at school, cyberbullying online, or harmful behaviors that go unnoticed, we'll be breaking down everything down, what it looks like and how it feels and what we can do about it to stop it. Bullying doesn't just leave bruises, it can leave scars on confidence, mental wellness, and self worth. But here's the truth, we can change that by learning how to recognize the signs, stand up for ourselves and others, and bully environments rooted in kindness and respect. We become part of the solution. This month episode will be including honest conversations, practical tools, expert advice, and real stories that remind us you're not alone, you're worthy of respect, and together we can rise above bullying. Over to you, Maya.
Hi everyone. So my first question is, can you describe a moment when you realized what you experienced was bullying? Indeed.
Um, Honestly, for me, I've had many of these moments, but I feel like the biggest moment for me was in fifth grade, and it did not take long because it was this one kid. He would not stop messing with me and whatever, and it was a repeated thing since September till the end of that school year. Like it would not stop, and I went to the staff. They did not do anything. I got punished for trying to report it. So it just kept going on and on no matter what happened. It would not stop. So at that point, I was like, this is definitely bullying. Because in that moment, it was very elaborate, it was very repeated.
That's a great opening question, and I feel like it's such a loaded question. Um, to think about like an experience when we ourselves noticed something as bullying. Um, I might say like I know y'all, I'm a little old. I'm a little old, okay? I'm not as young as most. And what bullying looked like for us back then is not necessarily what bullying looks like today, because there's so many different parameters to bullying now. We didn't have internet like that. We didn't have to worry about like the cyberbullying aspect, but what we did have was like that Mean Girls Club. I think even now, like the Mean Girls Club kind of still exists. Um, Even like when you think about, and I say the Mean Girls Club, but even when we think about how boys used to tease girls and it being brushed off as, oh, but he likes you. Or when a girl would tease a boy to the point that it would almost like make them cry and make them feel like unworthy. And that was deemed as, oh, she likes you. I think it almost feels like oftentimes bullying is being brushed off as something that's meant to be funny when it's not. Um, and so for us growing up, we kind of didn't realize any of those things were bullying until like way later, because to everybody else, it was, well, they were just joking with you and you're too sensitive, or like figure it out, like them are your feelings, like not how they meant it. So it was almost made to seem like the problem was you and not the person who was committing the act. So I kind of like that now people are making the effort to talk more about bullying and bring more awareness to bullying, because it's not always you as the problem. If there's something you don't like it, and that's okay. And you should be able to feel comfortable enough to say that you don't like a thing. And I feel like now our students are a little bit more aware of the things that they don't like, and they feel a little bit more comfortable to go to an adult and say, I don't like when so and so does these things to me, or they keep pushing me, or they keep taking things from me, or they keep saying all the mean things about me. And we know that saying, right? Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. I'm sorry, words hurt. So I even think like we have to rethink some of the things that we tell students, because yes, bullying takes place in the form of words, it's physical, it's emotional, it's all the things. And I think we need to address those things. So I love that that's an opening question, because I think a lot of people realize bullying in many different ways, especially based on how they came up.
And I absolutely love that. And something I want to talk about bullying is that bullying is not just a one-time thing at all. It is very elaborate, it is very repeated, it is intentional, it is not an accidental thing. And when people brush it off as, oh, it's just a joke, it's unintentional. No, it's not. And if it was unintentional, and you told them, oh, this is how I took it, I didn't like this, they legitimately like apologize. Like it'd be sincere and they would do it again. Right. But if they go turn around and do it again, then that's an elaborate thing. Like that is not accidental. So at that point, you need to realize that that is bullying. It's not just, oh, this was a joke that went too far. No, that's bullying. And you need to address that.
I think nobody deserves bullying. Nobody in this world. Bullying is a serious talk because people suicide themselves because other people want to bring them down, the person, and make them feel bad and they're not worth it. As I'm here right now, you're worth it. Don't let anybody tell you like you're not worth it or like nobody likes you. Don't don't take that from another person because you do matter. Don't hurt yourself. Don't do like harm stuff to yourself because this person thinks that way. You know, your family love you. You have friends too that love you. Just because this person doesn't like you, you're gonna harm yourself. But sometimes bullying comes from big groups. That's too is not easy. I saw a movie of this kid bullied by a whole group and he wanted to kill himself. That's that's literally so hard to watch because it's a little kid. He want to take himself down, like he want to die. And I think this is like a serious topic, but I think a lot of people like don't realize how serious it is. Bullying it is, especially cyberbullying too. The same thing. Strangers are very hard on you. You don't know them. There's a lot of hate on this world, and people are gonna bring you down no matter who you are.
You guys bring up some really good points. Ilani, I love that you brought up, the little kids, right? I think sometimes people feel like, oh, little kids don't have a reason to be sad. They don't have a reason to be down. And then talking about like suicidal ideation start really early. And as where a lot of people were like, oh my God, but they were just a kindergartner. They were just a first grader. But are we really paying attention to the things that are happening to those kindergartners and those first graders? Because we're talking really big emotions, really big experiences, and really big adjustments that are not always so easy for a kindergartner or a first grader to comprehend or understand. And where is their outlet? Like, who do they go to for these outlets? And sometimes, it is not so easy to say, oh, well, they should talk to a trusted adult. Well, who is their trusted adult? Because some of them don't feel like they can trust the adult. Now, I see you, Lamar. I see you. Because I know a lot of times that, oh, go tell the teacher. But how many times do students tell a teacher a thing and nothing ever gets done? And I'm not saying that the teachers aren't trying. Sometimes there's things that the teachers can only do so much. Now we need to look at administration. Why is administration not stepping in and helping the students feel safe and helping back up that teacher when they're saying that this kid is a consistent problem and there's bullying? But then how are we involving the parent? Not even just for the bully, but for the child that's also being bullied. Because oftentimes the parents have no clue that their kid is being bullied. So there are so many breakdowns, I feel, in that communication piece of when a kid feels bullied or when they are being bullied, to the bully themselves, to the parental side, and even to the administrative side. I think there are so many barriers in that in between that need to be worked on. Lamar, I need you to unmute, Lamar, because I see it and I'm like, I know you like dying to add on. I see it all in your face.
No, because quite literally seeing where what you're saying is hitting right here at home, because knowing my experience throughout the years, it started when I was around 5 and it's carried on since then. It is a consistent problem. It has appeared every single year. And it's sad to watch, but it's good to look back on, because if I didn't have this experience, I wouldn't be the person I am. I would say that. I wouldn't have the amount of knowledge. And having you here for me, right? Catching that early, especially with my kindergarten experience, I'm glad we were able to catch that early and it didn't continue leading on. Because if it did, that would have been like, it would have been really bad for me. I'm saying that. And I'm saying that 8 years later, almost 10 years later, I'm saying it would have been bad for me, not just then, but down the line. Because all those experiences, it would have stuck to me. It's already stuck to me. And I only endured a good 3 months of that before things started happening. And with the trusted adult situation, I completely agree with that, because who can be the adult they trust when nobody is doing anything? If the problem still persists and they already went to an adult that they trust, who can they trust now? And with the parental side of that, you only know what you're told. You're not there with them. You only know what you've been told by administration, teachers, and maybe even the kid itself themselves if they go to you. But that's all you know. So making that mistake can be very easy when you don't know.
It's very sad when these teachers just don't care and they'll be like, I'm just here to the money and work and go home. And they actually don't care, like they don't care about the students. That is actually like hurtful for me because is a kid, like he's learning and he's going through that and you're not gonna help them. Like be the adult.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate to that one because I feel like most of the times the teachers care, but they're also backed against the wall. And as we look at like where education has been headed over the last few years, more responsibilities are placed on teachers with limited amount of resources. And so when you think about like class sizes now, class sizes every year increases. So they went from having 15 kids in a room to 30 kids in a room. And now I'm expected to deal with every behavior that walks through the door. So whether they're bullying, jumping off the walls, like picking boogers, I don't know. Like, I'm expected to deal with all the things. Then I'm expected to teach a lesson, and I can't teach the way that I want to teach because now you're mandating how I teach. And I'm being told that I have to teach to make the kids pass a test instead of teaching kids to be prepared for their future. And then I have to deal with kids who are coming in with mental health issues and problems, but I'm not a therapist. So I have to manage 20 different problems in the course of a day, and I still haven't taught a whole lesson. And I feel like for a lot of teachers now, it is very overwhelming to try to be that support system. You're either going to be all in for support or all in teaching the test. So it's like you gotta pick a side. And even though your heart is breaking because you want to do more, how much time do you really have to do the more? And I again, I feel like in all the things that we're seeing in today's world and society, there's a lot of things that need reform, right? Education has needed reform for a long time. Based like how our kids are being taught, how our teachers are not able to teach the way that they desire to teach, and all the things now, like everything needs a complete overhaul. But I feel like when we look at like bullying and I mean it even goes beyond the bullying, right? Because the kid that's being bullied and the kid that is the bully both have two separate issues, but are all issues, right? The bully is bullying for a reason. Where is it coming from? So now the teachers got to dive into that to figure it out, because if I kick the kid out of school, how have I helped them? Because then what? Whose problem do they become later? Are we really addressing it, or are we just putting tape over it? I think that there's like so many parts and pieces, but if the teacher has to now be the discovery person, how much time does she have to teach? Or how much time does he have to teach? It's a lot that's stacked on top of a lot that's stacked on top of a lot that's stacked on top of a lot that I think is a lot to uncover and a lot to unmask. And yeah, I get it though, Ilana, because there are teachers that truly do not care. We know this to be true. There are teachers who really don't care. They are there for their check. Like it was the easiest field for them to get in. And it's like, okay, I'm gonna do this thing. I'm making my money for the day. I'm going home. I'm turning it all off. Whatever happened to that kid just happened to that kid. Somebody else gonna figure it out. It ain't me today. Then you have that teacher that is the above and beyonder. That's that one that takes it home with them. They can't turn it off. The things that they saw in their classroom today, the things that they heard in that classroom today, and they're always trying to figure out a way. You're gonna have it no matter what field you're in. You're gonna have both sides, the people who care and the people who don't. But I always love to play devil's advocate because I'm like, I've sat inside of the schools, I've seen a lot of the teachers, and I've seen the things that they're working up against. And I'm like, it's hard. It is so hard for them to be 100% teacher. They are teacher, they are counselor, they are the coach, they are the cheerleader, like they are all the things literally in a school day.
I think that was a really good point. Um, I think when you're coming up, like as a kid, you don't like you're only in your body, so you can't imagine how much like mental effort, a teacher is kind of like putting out just to like constantly scan the room and like notice behavior changes. Like, oh, well, this person was really excited yesterday, or they're usually really energetic and now they're not speaking, but then somebody in the back is getting bullied at the same time. And it's like, okay, well, which fire do we put out? So I do think it can be overwhelming for sure, but I feel for the kids and I feel for the teachers because it's just not good. Um, my next question is, did culture or social backgrounds influence how bullying played out? For anyone on the call, personal or somebody you know, any of the above.
Yep. And yep. um, and when we talk about culture, right, it's that gender culture. And I saw in the chat, they used to say boys will be boys, and that was the excuse, right? And I think some of that is still present today. When you see a boy doing a thing, oh, it's just a boy being a boy. But no, it's not a boy being a boy. Like, that's not okay. Like, can we please address the real problem? Even when you think about, like, when you are around a group of girls, and girls can be really catty, the talking about each other behind each other's back and like that. Oh, well, that's just girls. And no, it shouldn't be just girls. Like, we have a duty, right, as people, to think about how we respect others and how we put out kindness, or even like what we put out there in general, what we put in the universe, right? And I'm a huge believer in karma. It comes back one way or another. Like, what you do absolutely will come back to you. And so why not put out good if that's the case? Right. But I know not enough people think that karma is a thing. And so if they do all the wrong things, they feel like it doesn't catch up to them. But one, half of them don't believe that what they're doing is wrong. Again, sometimes it's seen as playful banter. Sometimes it's seen as, well, it's just me speaking my mind. But how you speak your mind absolutely matters. Like, if you're saying it to a point where you're always sounding mean or you're being aggressive all the time, like, it's more than just you speaking your mind now, like you're intentionally being hurtful. So I think self-reflection is key. But when we think about like cultural and social backgrounds, yeah, they definitely play a role. Think about how many movies there are that show kids being bullied. We can even do one better. Let's go back to cartoons back in our day. We don't watch Bugs Bunny. I know y'all don't watch Bugs Bunny. Like, y'all ain't that young that you don't remember Bugs Bunny and Looney Tunes. Look, I know y'all know about them, right? They was always beating up somebody. That was seen as funny and normal. So now when kids go out and do it, they get in trouble for it, right? But it's what they saw. So we even have to think about like the things that we show our kids and what it's actually telling them to do. And then why we so upset when they actually go out here and do it. So yeah, cultural and social, all that stuff, it definitely plays a role in how bullying plays out, in my opinion.
Actually, the kids too get it from their parents if they're abusive. And if your dad is hitting your mom, they're gonna see that and they're gonna do it with other people. And there is where bully comes from too.
See, now a point where I'm gonna say bullying comes from is environment. Let it be cultural environment, home environment, community environment. It all comes from environment, what they're seeing and what they experience. Bullying doesn't happen for no reason. It happens, it stems from somewhere. Now we have to figure out the root cause and how can we assist them to see what they're doing is wrong. And if they know it's wrong, how do we try to put them in a direction where they understand it's wrong and they try to stop? Because some kids, it's not just the fact that they get it from home. Some of them just don't care. That is absolutely a problem in some of these schools. Some of them just straight up don't care and they just do stuff just to do it. doing it just to hurt somebody's feelings. Now, those people need serious self-reflection, in my opinion, because they need to realize what the effects of what they're doing to somebody else. Because what they do to somebody else could be detrimental to them.
Come on with the self-reflection. And I love what both of you brought up, right? When we talk about that environmental piece, environmental, like it is a whole role in how some bullying takes place. When we talk about what kids see, and I love that y'all both brought up, like, sometimes things are happening within the home. Sometimes we got to think about the friends that we keep too, because it's not always just about abusive relationships, right? You ever had a friend that like when they come around, they calling you names, they may be punching you in the shoulder, and they laughing every time they do it, but it hurts, but you don't say nothing, you just let it go because that's your friend, that's what they do, that's how they act. Sometimes we're telling our kids that the way other people act and treat us is okay. So we also have to look at, even if it's not like a really physically abusive relationship, whether it's the person that you're dating or like a friend, like a friendship or whatever, sometimes it's that playful banter that is a form of bullying that we allow people to enter our space and do that our kids are seeing. So sometimes we got to look at the friendships that we have, okay? Because even that thing where it's like, oh, that's just how they act. Is that really how they should be acting? And then why are we so comfortable allowing people to come in our space and treat us that way? Because now you're either telling your kid, this is how they're meant to be treated, or this is how they need to treat others. So it's going to happen one or two ways. They're either going to become the bully or they're going to be bullied because they think that it's what they're supposed to accept. So we do have to look at all aspects of our environment. How are we allowing people to treat us? And then we'll even dig a little bit further, because when we think about some family dynamics, and I know this too is a cultural thing as well, how our elders talk to us and treat us sometimes plays a really big role in what is accepted in our world and what our kids end up doing that repeats the cycle. And so I know in some cultures, right, you have grandparents that are walking around calling the grandkids fat. They're calling the grandkids ugly, and it's meant as, well, that's just grandma or that's just grandpa. And we're going to respect our elder because they're old and that's okay. No, that's not okay. So sometimes we have to look at all the dynamics, because then once it starts happening, right, some kids, and this is not every kid, some kids begin to listen to the things that are being said to them or being said to mom or dad, whoever it's happening to. And now they're internalizing that to be the norm. So I'm just meant to be called fat all my life. And that's okay. No, that's bullying. It's something that's harmful and it's hurtful, and you've been told that it's okay for it to be said to you. Oh, are you defending your friend or ignoring your boundaries? Or are you defending your friend for ignoring your boundaries? And that's a great question, because sometimes you are. So I think sometimes we need to look at all the things. Like, we need to look at the cultural dynamics. We need to look at the social norms that are around us, but we also need to look at that environment for which we are in ourselves, and understand, like, are we allowing people in a space to actively bully us? And how are we now going to make those adjustments to fix it? Because what do we really want our kids to know? How do we really want our kids to be treated, and what are we showing them? But I think when we talk about bullying, that we have to really look at ourselves, because it's sometimes easy for us to be the bully. without even knowing that we're the bully. So self-reflection, I think, is always key. But that's just my little 2 cents. Just my 2 cents,
That was a good 2 cents. Okay.
No. Who said that was 2 cents?
Yeah, I think it was more than that.
Yeah, that's entirely more than 2 cents. I'm gonna tell you this like I told Uncle Mal. Don't give yourself 2 cents. Give yourself the whole dollar. I'll even say give yourself $2. How about that? You gave yourself two. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a really good tie-in because I think when I read the words like culture and social backgrounds, I was thinking like, okay, maybe being bullied or targeted for your race or, being bullied or targeted for like being the new kid in school, or even just looking different. But I never thought to associate like the word bullying with family and like it starting in the home. Like I think that's something that could stand to be talked about more, honestly. Um, but yes, okay. So one more question. Hmm. Have you seen cyberbullying escalate faster than in-person bullying? Okay, let's talk about that one.
All I'm gonna say is this: I haven't seen it in person. I've definitely heard about things escalating faster online than in person. It is definitely a possibility. I'd say it's more likely to escalate faster online because honestly, if we're gonna be honest about cyberbullying is worse than in person, depending on what the situation is. Because with cyberbullying, you don't know who this person is. You don't know where it's coming from. You can't confront them. You can't really report that if you don't know who it is. So it might be worse, but yes, it can absolutely escalate faster online because you don't know who it is and they don't care what the effect on you is.
Well, I'm gonna challenge that one, Lamar, because cyberbullying, right? Sometimes you do know who it is. Now, and I say this because, and the reason why, when the minute you ask that question, I'm like, yep. Every middle school and high school has a fight channel on social media. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They're out there. And that's where a lot of the cyberbullying is happening. So yeah, all the kids who walk around with their phones like this, like the minute somebody looks like they're about to fight, that's the first thing that comes up is the phone. And they take it and they put it on these social media websites. And then that's where a lot of the bullying starts to escalate, right? Now people are going in there looking for those kids and they're bullying those kids virtually when they find out who they are. Cyberbullying can absolutely come from people who you know. They sit in your classrooms, they sitting next to you, and sometimes it's even your friend, or so they say. So I feel like, yes, we do see a lot more cyberbullying than we do in-person bullying. Why? Because people feel safer behind the screen. I can talk a lot of trash when I'm not in your face. Right? But if I gotta be sitting next to you and say the same thing, I ain't got nothing to say because I don't want you to put your hands on me. But behind the screen, I can say whatever I want. But guess what? It don't stop with the kids. There's whole grown adults out here sharing fight videos from high schoolers, from middle schoolers. So what does that say about the adult? They're condoning the bullying behavior, right? They're adding to the culture of bullying. So rather than sitting and talking to your kids about why we shouldn't be doing these things, they're actively sharing these videos for laughs. So you're adding to the issue. So it's not just where we see it in the kids, we see it in grown people too. So again, these are one of the things, right? When we talk about the type of friends that you have around you, and the type of friends that you have around your kids. Is your friend one of those individuals that's sharing kids fight videos for laughs and giggles? And then they're sharing it with you, expecting you to laugh and giggle too? And what does that tell your kid, right? If it becomes them in the middle of a fight that they didn't ask for, being jumped, and now they're blasting on social media, where others can now do exactly what your friend is doing, sharing it. So I think there's a lot for us to look at, and lots of opportunities for us as adults to kind of be better about the things that we do and what we accept in our circle as well. Because nobody should be sharing fight videos with teenagers and sharing it with other adults. I think that's just the most ridiculous thing. But we know it in some areas, it becomes the norm for them to do that. So yeah, cyberbullying definitely I think is a major issue. I think cyberbullying is even bigger than in-person bullying, honestly, because I think more people have courage behind the screen than they do in person.
Look, all I'm gonna say about the fact that your point about adults doing that is insane, because not only that are they condoning it, they're encouraging. Like, they're straight up just telling you to go out there, punch somebody, record it. Let me get that video. Like, no. And I feel like some of that in the community, in any community, honestly, is not only damaging them, it's damaging the community, and it's damaging the community's reputation as a whole. It's damaging everybody. It's like saying, if I'm going down, you're going down with me. No, you're quite literally encouraging people to go down with you, and you didn't have to force anything. All you did is share one video, and now people are sending you 100 more videos for you to post and share. Like, that does more damage to everybody than it does help. Like, that doesn't do anything.
Yeah, cyberbullying is the worst. Um, because it's anytime, anywhere. Everybody, like 100,000 people can see that. And actually, you don't know who's the person behind it. Um, we don't know, but I feel like those kind of people are scared to confront themselves, and that's why they do it behind the screen. But it's the worst when you are going through it because it stays there forever online. So there's no way to erase it because a lot of people have it, and that causes a lot of depression, low esteem, anxiety, and there comes the suicidal thoughts. And it's very hard when it's online because not of like teachers or counselors or parents don't see it because some kids hide it from their parents, and it's very hard for them to trust someone when that happens. So it's kind of like very hard to escape cyberbullying, and it's very damaging, like emotionally and mentally. So it's worst. That's my opinion.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. The school really can't do anything about it, right? Because it's outside of their control. It's not on campus at this point. Now it's something that's viral. And it's hard because it's like you said, once it's out there, it's out there. And you can erase it from one or two places, but once somebody's downloaded the video, all they got to do is place it somewhere else. And if 100 people have taken that video, maybe 20 feel bad and delete it. The other 80 still got it. And they're sharing it amongst their groups in whatever ways that they see or deem to share it. And so while you may get a break for a month, right? Because maybe it died down towards the end of the month. All it takes is for one person to go bring it back up again, and now it starts all over. So cyberbullying is harder to escape from unless the kid absolutely doesn't have access to social media, which we know for most of our kids these days is not the case. They all have access to some form or some type of social media. And if they don't have it, their friends do. So what are they doing? Hey, friend, look what I saw today that you was in. And so they're showing it to them, even if they don't have access to social media. So I feel like it's a much bigger problem because it's harder to correct than it is to correct the behaviors from students who are bullying in person. That's the cyberbullying. Like there's so many other open avenues that's hard to tap into. And again, it never 100% goes away. It's there.
And that was about to be a point I made, because I'll say this: no matter what you post or no matter what's out there, even if somebody deletes the video off for anybody else, at least one person has it saved. At least one person has it downloaded. At least one person. And that one person can go back up and say, nah, I'm gonna post this again. And then the cycle continues. They just find it from a different source. And I agree with that. And something else I want to add is this: in terms of what you do on social media and what you do in general, you gotta be your worst enemy and your best friend. You gotta be on both sides of yourself, because you have to be able to encourage yourself on some things, but you also got to be able to question yourself. So, like, encourage yourself on that test, but question yourself on if you really want to do this trend that your friends are doing on TikTok. Do you really want to do that? Is it actually something you want to do? Is it something that's gonna lead problems down the line later? Like, is it just a silly dance, or are you doing something stupid? No, because something else I'll even say with cyberbullying are trends. Trends, they follow, they go down a rabbit hole, because trends can go down to like the ice bucket thing, which even then I'm pretty sure that was like a donation thing. So at least it's going to like a good cause and it's spreading awareness. So at least it's for something. Until you get to something like, I'm pretty sure there was like a Subway Surfers trend where people was going onto a highway and jumping on the cars. A person legitimately died from that. And I'm like, what? Why are we doing this? So you got to question yourself, but you also got to encourage yourself.
Have
I
you
agree.
watched the Unknown Number, where the mother
Yes.
say stuff to her daughter but with unknown number?
Did you see
And
it?
yeah, it
Mhm.
was very bad. That was for years. He was saying bad stuff to her daughter, and I don't know if that's bullying. Is that bullying?
Yes,
Yes,
it is.
that's the
Yeah.
Yes,
family
Absolutely.
bullying
Absolutely.
one.
Yes.
Yes.
100%.
but
110%.
it was in-person bullying and cyberbullying at the same time, because remember, she posted all that stuff on social media about her daughter. It was both, yes. And again, this goes back to those environments, right? It is. And then when we think about the term cyberbullying and people assuming oftentimes that it's people that you don't know, no, these are people that you know that are doing it, but they feel safer doing it behind a screen. Um, and again, not saying that cyberbullying won't happen from random people, because it absolutely will, but a good majority of the time, it's somebody that you know. Yep. That was a good one, Ilani,
Mhm.
to bring that one up, because yes, I did. I went down that rabbit hole. Amaya, I blame your mama. Look up there.
Yeah. Yeah. She made me watch it too, and I was like, this is terrible. I had never seen anything like that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I think too, something else that y'all are all kind of touching on, I guess with like the social media stuff. I feel like cyberbullying feels harder to catch because there's so many different forms of social media. Like there's so many different conversations happening on Snapchat, but then something's going on Instagram or TikTok. And like, I don't know, I have a little sister in high school and I don't even know how many social media platforms she has. I'm sure she has all of them, but her parents don't know that. And I don't know that. And like the conversations being had in those platforms, like I will never know, and then you see your kid walking around mad and you don't know what's wrong. And like, you don't even have full access to know like what they're taking in on a daily basis. And I think that's like scary because I don't like any of the forms of bullying, but I think at least the in person you can see it. Like we know, okay, this is what's going on. But
I see a comment in the chat with cyberbullying. You have to deal with everyone's comments and opinions, and it's very, very true. Like you're not only dealing with the video, right? Now you're dealing with either people think you're the worst of the worst kid because they've only heard one side of it, or oh my God, you're such a weak kid because you didn't fight back, or oh my goodness, now they got to question everybody's parenting skills because every parent is now a horrible parent because their kid got bullied or their kid is the bully. So it's so many things, and cyberbullying will take on so many different levels that affect everyone: the kid, the parent, the school system, the teachers, and even sometimes the kids that are just standing around in the hallway that were just bypassing. They was minding their business, just passing by. But now they're a victim of cyberbullying because they were passing by and didn't do anything, right? So it's cyberbullying will take on so many different factors and touch so many different people in ways that most people wouldn't expect. One of the things that I often tell students, especially like when we talk about like access to social media, sometimes you may not be the problem. It's the people you associate yourself with. And so while you may not be doing the crazy things on social media, but your friends are, once your friends post you in some of those videos, you now become guilty by association, right? So I try to tell students like this all goes back to how do you want the world to look at you? And it matters if you're planning to go to college, if you're planning to get a job. Yeah. Employers are scrubbing social media to see where they can find you. And if the videos that are posted are videos of you out with your friends and your friends are the bully, you may not be bullying nobody, but you're there. You're laughing. Now they're looking at you like, why would I bring you into my company? Because even though that's your personal time and it's outside of our working hours, you are a representation of our company. And right now, what we see, right, the biggest trend, anybody who's caught on social media doing something that people don't like, what are they doing? Going straight to find these people's jobs. And now all the employers become under scrutiny because they employ someone who's doing something that the majority don't like. No company wants to deal with that pressure. So again, this is where we have to look at who do we associate ourselves with and how can it damage what we're doing. And that's not just for the kids. Again, parents, we got to look at our friend circles too. Because again, you become guilty by association. You may not have said a thing, you may not have done a thing, but because you sat in that circle, you laughed and you smiled, or it may look like you was chuckling it up at what they said and did, you now become under scrutiny too, and it plays a role. And now people will cyberbully you. So it's so many things. Like bullying is such a widespread issue. It's not just about our kids. It's about the families in general. Like it touches everyone for sure. For sure. Oh, y'all did that for this Talk Tuesday. Listen, we was on a week break. We had a week off, but I came back on fire. All right. So before I wrap us up, so before we share what's coming up this month, because you know how we go into events and stuff, I am going to turn it over to one of our very own youth leaders to deliver a special public service announcement for Bullying Prevention Month.
Hey everyone, I'm Lamar, a junior youth program ambassador with SEPS Foundation. Bullying doesn't define you, and it doesn't have the final word. Whether you've been hurt by others, witnessed bullying in silence, or felt unsure about how to step in, remember, you have the power to speak up, power to protect your peace, and power to choose kindness even in difficult moments. Bullying prevention doesn't just stop the hurt. It's about building environments where everyone feels safe, seen, and supported. That work starts with us, and it continues every time we choose empathy over judgment and courage over silence. No matter what you've been through, you're not alone. Trust me, I'm there with you. And you are worthy of respect, and you deserve to be surrounded by people who lift you up and not tear you down.
Come on, Junior Youth Program Ambassador, with the words of wisdom. I love it. I love it. So now, guys, let's talk about some upcoming events. So October 10th, the Youth Limitless Mini Grant applications deadline is approaching. So if you are a student in K through 12 with a powerful idea that surrounds housing issues like youth homelessness or safe shelters or housing equity, this upcoming grant cycle is for you. So the Poinsett Foundation, which is one of our amazing community partners, is offering a youth mini grant. And the theme, like I said, this month is homes and housing. So you can learn more and apply for this mini grant at poinsetfoundation.org. And again, the deadline to apply is October 10th. So yes, there's still time. And y'all, I promise the application process is super easy. But let's talk about the perks and rewards, okay? So for you guys that apply and you actually, if you get chosen, you win $500 and a laptop or a tablet. So an awesome opportunity for students in K through 12 to get funded for an idea that they have. So yes, students, apply, and apply. So again, this month is on housing and homes and housing. On October 11th, we're doing our Color of You workshop. This workshop is one of our faves. It's all about discovering who you are and embracing your identity through creativity and storytelling. So if you like art, expression, or just want to connect with others in a meaningful space, you don't want to miss this workshop. And then next up, we have Barrier Talks focus group for our community partners on November 1st. So we're inviting faith-based leaders, barbers, coaches, mentors, tutors, and stylists, basically all the adults who are on the front lines with our youth to come and talk to us. We want to hear what you've been seeing and what solutions you think might be able to help teens with their mental health. These are powerful conversations, and we have had a wonderful time speaking to people over the last 3 weeks. So to sign up for any of our upcoming events, you can head over to www.stepsfoundation.org /events and follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Steps Foundation Inc. for any updates and stories that we may have. So to every teen that's listening tonight, we want you to know that your voice matters, okay? Your feelings are valid, and even if the world hasn't always been kind to you, you have the right to be treated with dignity and care. Bullying prevention starts with conversations like this and continues with the choices that we make each day to support one another. Thank you guys for being part of this month's Talk Tuesday series. Keep showing up for yourself, keep speaking up for others, and keep believing that better is always possible. So as always, guys, stay inspired, stay empowered, and keep leading the way. We'll see y'all next week.